it's Reviews Day Tuesday, and today I thought I'd review something that's a little bit different, but definitely comes up in discussions between me and my friends every now and again, and that is George Orwell's Why I Write. And I think that understanding the way people write and why they write things is quite important when you're analysing their books, or at least just thinking about their books in a greater detail. And George Orwell certainly underlines some of the reasons why people write. I don't think it's a great example of why everyone writes. Obviously only one person can analyse the way they themselves write. But I think the main reasons that he explains within this book is that to understand why people write, you have to understand their influences and themselves as a person to some extent. And I don't know if other people agree with me, but I certainly think that's a bit true. You certainly need to understand what someone's background is, what the culture around them is, what the politics that are going on in their country are, or how they have experienced different types of politics in the past. And it is definitely influential, and I think within all art forms and not just writing. It's certainly a good book if you like George Orwell's work and you want to understand more into why he writes. So he certainly underlines why and how politicians and within politics people can write and read and work their words to become persuasive, and how you can write persuasive arguments. And that is a good portion of this book. It's just about political writing and how politics is influenced by different words and speeches and the recognition and the way that people interpret these things. And if you are going to write something persuasive, having a vague understanding of how persuasive writing works really helps, and I think that is definitely outlined in this book. But that is more fundamental to the politics and English language essay within this book. This is 4 different essays, and they each underline different reasons why he writes. He also underlines that there are 4 main reasons why people write. And these reasons are sheer egotism, aesthetic enthusiasm, historical impulse, and political considerations. So all of these things influence the way people write. And I think egotism is a large part of it. People write because they want to be recognised, or they write because they want to, they do it for themselves. Not entirely, but to a great extent. I think it's one of the main reasons why I write, is for me, and me only, and maybe for other people a little bit, but more for me and the recognition that I get from it. And I think that that's said for a lot of artists, really. You can't not be egotistical, it is the way you see the world. But this is certainly a great book, and it very much underlines why Orwell writes and how his political decisions are made and how he writes such political things, because it basically tells you how he grew up. It very much goes into that. It's a bit autobiographical in that way, and if you're not interested in the way that Orwell writes, it's about him, don't read it. But yeah, I certainly think that it is a good book, and that if you are going to write something that's persuasive, or you're going to write something fictional, having a good understanding of why you write is fairly fundamental, and it certainly makes a better reading. So yeah, if you're thinking of writing anything, Why I Write is a great book, and it certainly helped me write some pretty important things. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. There are other books by George Orwell and other essays, and I certainly think that if you're into the sort of more English literature side of literature, you want to understand it, you want to analyse it, books like this are a great thing. They're part of the Great Ideas section in the Penguin books. There are other great ideas out there. This is just one of them. This has been Reviews Day Tuesday. I hope that you enjoyed a slightly different book. As you can see, my bookshelves are looking a little bit skimpy at the moment, and that's because I have returned most of the books that I've read this year to my other bookshelves, so I don't actually have that much stuff to review. I hope that I can come up with something more interesting to do next week, and that you enjoyed this Reviews Day Tuesday. My Twitter, Tumblr and Goodreads are all in the description below.